Hello, this is Kelly with the Office of Immigration and Refugee Affairs. Welcome to the Social Adjustment Services training module for the Refugee Data Center. At this point, you should have already watched the general overview that provides an introduction to the RDC in its entirety. If you have not already watched that module, please go back and do that one first, and then you'll want to watch this one that will provide more information about Social Adjustment Services. Okay, so we've already logged into the RDC, and now we are going to go to the Clients tab up here at the top to enroll a client into Social Adjustment Services. You could search for a client up here. They may already be in the system. They may be receiving other types of services. In this case, we do have Elba Morales is already in the RDC. If she were not already enrolled in any services, it would bring up a blank intake screen for you to do a new intake on her. But in the general overview, we already entered Elba Morales into the system. And as a reminder, before you can activate somebody in a service, you have to first do intake page 1. So you do all of that, and you'll save it, and that will then bring up intake page 2. And you'll enter all that information, save it, and at that point, then it will bring up the Services tab. So here it's already enabled. If it's a new client, you'll see each tab as you do as you save the previous tab. But here, so now we're on the Services tab, and we can see all of the services that this client is currently receiving at both your agency and any other agency. You would only be able to make changes or do any editing to the service if it's being provided by your agency, but you can also just view the other types of services that they might be receiving elsewhere. And then they're grouped by grant. So you have Refugee Cash Assistance. Here we have all the Refugee Social Services programs. You could also maybe see some of the discretionary programs such as Cuban Haitian or older refugee down here, and they'd be grouped according to that grant as well. So actually, Elba Morales has already been enrolled in social adjustment, so I'm going to go to somebody else so that we can start from scratch. And I know that we have this sample client entered into here. These are not real clients. These have all been made up. Okay, so again, intake page 1, intake page 2, and then we can go to services. So those have already been done. So we're going to enroll this client into social adjustment services. And here's an example again of the different types of grants. So you can see that this client has been in job placement twice, but under 2 different programs, one under RSS and another one under the TAD program. So you want to make sure you're looking at the correct program that you're working with. So we want to enroll this client into Social Adjustment Services. They're not already enrolled, so we're going to go over here and add new service. So you click on this arrow. And again, some of the same services are offered under different grants, and those screens are going to look similar, but you want to make sure that you're enrolling the client in the correct grant and service. So we're going to do Refugee Social Services. So we're looking over here in this column for anything that says RSS, and then we want to find Social Adjustment. So here we go. And we'll click on Add New Service. Okay, and here it is. It shows up over here now. So we want to click on the little light bulb to go into the service screen and enter the information. So you have to enter the case manager, and again you'll see the little red stars indicating that's a required field. And then up here it gives you just a general overview of who this client is and their basic information, their eligibility start with date, which is usually their arrival date or date granted asylum, and then it will give you a maximum service date. And as you already know, the RSS programs have a 5-year limit. So that's going to auto-populate here for you. You don't ever have to fill in this field. It's just there for informational purposes to let you know that this client will no longer be eligible for social adjustment services after October 2018. And a reminder would pop up if you tried to enter them after that date. Okay, so we're going to enter this client into the service. Let's say we started back in April. And you have to indicate the date that you created a service plan, because it's important that you sit down with a client and create a comprehensive service plan of what you're going to do for them and how they're going to be involved in that process as well. So let's say we did that on the same date, April 8th. And then you click on Save. And that will bring up the next set of fields that you need to fill in. It also brings up the service closed fields, but we don't want to do that right now because we're going to, that'll be there for later when we're ready to close this client out. But so you're going to enter different activities. What type of activities do you do with social adjustment clients? Let's say that this client needs, not showing all of the, normally this would be a longer list. I'm not sure why it's not showing everything. I'll look into that. But let's say this client needs help with going to the doctor. So you're going to click on Health Services. Then you're going to add the date that you provided that service. Let's say that happened, a couple days later on April 10th. And here you're going to indicate any support services that you're going to provide to help the client get this service. So if they're going to the doctor, they might need a ride. So you have TR is for transportation, and they might need interpretation services. So IT, interpretation, and translation. So you're going to click on that as well. And so CC is childcare. So you'll notice that there are these little help buttons as you go along, the little blue buttons with a question mark on it. You can click on that at any time if you have questions. It'll provide some definitions or some more information about what we're looking for exactly there. So here this gives you the definitions of those abbreviations. Okay, we also have this comment tool here. You can enter notes if you want to about what that's not required, but if it helps you, you can enter some notes there. And then you hit create, and it creates that entry. Let's say this client has multiple needs, so you're going to add something else as well. They also need to apply for Medicaid in order to be able to go to the doctor. So you're going to click on Public Benefits Assistance, and again, here's the help button. It provides you some information about, this one just gives you information to go to the frequently asked questions section to get more details, and you would click on that link here, frequently asked questions. And there you'll find more information about what type of activity really fits under this general description of public benefits assistance. It might be Medicaid, SNAP, SSI, WIC, all those types of things. You can find more details here under the frequently asked questions. So again, we'll pick a date that we're going to help client with that. I'll say that happens on the 10th as well. We're going to provide interpretation and translation assistance for that. And then we're going to hit create. Okay, so that's pretty much all you have to do. It's pretty simple. Let's say, a month or so down the road, all the needs are met for this client, you're ready to close them out. You're going to go back up here to the service close area, pick the date. Let's say we'll close them out today, May 2nd. And you have to indicate that all of the services on the service plan have been provided. So this is just a reminder to go back and make sure that you've addressed all of their needs that were designated on the service plan. So you're going to say yes, and then the date that was completed. We'll say that happened the day before, yesterday. So we're going to close them out today because everything's done. And you're going to hit save, and there you go. That's pretty basic. Another component of the social adjustment program is orientation activities. And a lot of times those can be one-on-one, or they can also be in a group format where you invite multiple people to come to a presentation. So if it's a one-on-one orientation, with a client, you would add that here under the client's name in their service screen here. Okay, now there's more options showing up here. So if it's a one-on-one orientation, you're just going to add that as an activity here, cultural adjustment orientation. If it's a group presentation and you don't want to enter it for every single client that showed up, then we have this group activity tab up here at the top where you can log those type of group activities. So you would just select your program. So we're under RSS Social Adjustment. What the activity is, let's say we already have one here set up. So say you're doing a bus orientation, how to use the bus. You're just going to indicate the date that that's going to occur. What's happened in the past. How many hours, how many people showed up. let's say 15 people came, and where it was located. You can say at your office. You can put any information that you want there. The key components of this is we need to know how many people attended the workshop and what the activity was, what type of workshop it was. You can also add comments again here if you want. So we're going to update that. Okay. So let's say that you wanted to add an, let's do a new one first. These were already pre-set up. We're actually going to do add new. That's what you would want to do, is do a new one. Okay, so you do RDC Social Adjustment, the type of activity. Let's say the one that you want to do is not here. None of these are the ones that you're doing, so you need to add a new one. You would have to actually go up here to the Admin tab. So let's go there and add that from the administrative level. So you can do that here under this. You'll see group activity. This is where you set up all the different types of group activities that you might have at your agency. So we're going to add a new one. Again, you have to pick, so we're going to give it a name. What type of, we already had Medicaid workshop. Let's just say, we'll call it Baking 101. I'm sure it'd be something much more relevant, but that's all that's coming to mind at the moment. So we're going to, again, put that under, you have to assign it to the correct grant and service. So we're doing RDC Social Adjustment. And then you're going to save that. And that will now be available for us to choose when we go back to group activity up here, this big group activity. So you have group activity down here under the Admin tab. We're going to go back to group activity here where we're logging the actual services that we provide. Okay, so now our Baking 101 is showing up. We can select that one, the date that it occurred, number of hours, how many people showed up. There were 10 people there, and we held it at the office again in the kitchen. Okay, so we hit create. That's where you're going to log those types of group orientation workshops or other types of group activities. I think that is basically it. It should cover it. And if you ever have any questions, please always feel free to contact any of us here at OIRA. If you have any technical issues, we do have the email account set up for those where you can send information. That is OCS, as in Office of Community Services. So it's OCS_Refugee Data Center _TA, as in Technical Assistance, at hhsc.state.tx.us. And I believe we will be adding that under this Contact Us link at some point. I don't think we have it there yet, but we'll provide that email address under here. So, but yes, please feel free to contact us at any time, and thank you very much.